folks at the 777 Ranch have always accommodated me for whatever I wanted to go hunting. They've always done their best to make sure that I had the best success rate that I could possibly have. But this hunt is a little bit different. This hunt, I want to go after Aoudad, but I want to do it in a different way. I want to hunt them with my bow.
Keith called me up and said he wanted to do an Aoudad hunt. I said, oh, good, you know, we'll have some fun. And they're one of the toughest animals to get out here. We usually only have about a 50% success rate with a rifle. And Keith told me he wanted to do it with a bow, though, and I just looked at him and I said, good luck, you know, because it just doesn't happen very often. And I consider Aoudad 5 times spookier than the wiliest old whitetail buck. These guys can spot you from 300 yards away. They can smell you from 500, and usually when we see an Aoudad here, we usually see the backside of him as he's running away. Most of the Aoudads out here will probably range from 250 to 350 pounds. As they get older, they get long chaps on the front. They get a deep chocolate color, good curve to the horns.
Aoudad sheep, or Barbary sheep, were brought into the United States probably 50, 60 years ago. And they've been on this ranch for almost 40 years. They are just an amazing trophy and difficult to hunt. There's Aoudad on the ranch, and I know big trophies that you see maybe once a year if you're lucky. They're very elusive and very smart, got great eyesight. They're a mountain sheep, come from North Africa. And Keith made the decision he wanted to try for one, and I was excited because to get a big Aoudad on camera was going to be really great. And then he told me he wanted to hunt it with a bow. And I thought, man, you know, now he's really making it tough on us. But I said, yeah, why not? Let's try it. If we can get one on camera, it's going to be the first one I think ever taken on camera.
This is the first Aoudad I ever took it with a rifle. It's a real good trophy, almost 30 inches long across the outside of his horn here from the base all the way to the tip. Males and females both have horns. Of course, the older the male, the bigger the horns are going to be. Like I said, this is a trophy. They say they can get up to around 300 pounds. A couple other things about the male Aoudad. You'll notice this long hair on the front of it. This is what they call a mane. Also down here, you'll notice it has long hair on the front of its legs. These are chaps, they call it. Something interesting to point out about Aoudad, they have tremendous vision. The vision is just incredible, but you know, a lot of people don't give them a lot of respect about their hearing because their ears are so small. Take a look at that. Their hearing is incredible too. They also have a great sense of smell. So going after one with a bow might be on the verge of insanity.
With the Aoudad, traditionally the way you hunt them here is stalk and spot, but that's with a rifle, as I said, 200-yard shot. Now, with a bow, I was concerned that some of the more obtrusive blinds that we use for whitetail, they might get picked up by an Aoudad because he's, like I say, he's wide awake. So we decided to go with a more African-style blind where we dug a pit and used natural materials to make the blind, which I'd use for a leopard or something like that, a predator who's very wary, and got it set up about as good as we could do and just hope that Keith would get a shot.
We decided to hunt all day long knowing that Aoudads are not patentable at all. So the one thing that we decided to do, we were going to have to spend the time. And one of the interesting things about hunting at the 777 Ranch is the fact there's no telling what you're going to see. While we sat in that foxhole blind, we saw lots of different kinds of species of animals. The black buck antelope is a beautiful antelope. They only get probably about 80, 90 pounds, but we saw a bunch of them going through the brush. Then we saw the fallow deer too. The fallow deer are real neat in that they have several different colors. There are white fallows, chocolate fallows, and then the spotted fallows. One of the things I really enjoy about going to the 777 Ranch, especially during the non-traditional hunting season, is the number of species of animals that they have that you can actually hunt. And I don't know of a better place to do it than the 777 Ranch.
Got the axis coming to the right. Look at the axis. The wind shifted. The wind shifted a little bit. They smelt us, I guess. Bugged out of here.
I kind of realized the wind was shifting a little bit and decided that it'd probably be better off it was just Keith in the blind, and he had the experience and he knew what a big Aoudad looked like, so it maybe increased his chances. So I moved out in the afternoon and let Keith sit there by himself.
I don't want anybody watching this to think that they'll just let any hunter go at the 777 Ranch and just go hunting by themselves, because because they won't do that. In my situation, I've hunted, I know the ranch like the back of my hand, but still, I have a guide with me every single time I go, except now. And the reason why I don't have a guide with me now, because they think the odds of me getting even an opportunity is going to be like a needle in a haystack. I got the feeling that they had lots better things to do than sit in a foxhole blind with me all day long, waiting on an aoudad that would never show up.
We've been sitting here for hours, just like hunting in Africa, sitting in a hole in the ground.
We also saw a really nice Gims buck that came in.
That's a Gims buck, about 350 pounds. Come from Africa. They have super sharp vision. Great sense of smell.
But I wasn't hunting for Gims buck, I was hunting for an aoudad. Then there was this animal that came out, and I didn't even know what he was.
This is truly like coming to Africa, and they hunt the same style. And there's so many different species of animals, just like Africa. The aoudad's right here. The aoudad's right here.
The first aoudad we saw was about 300 yards away, standing there looking straight at us. And it's like he had a sixth sense, like he knew we were there. We held still, and I couldn't believe it that possibly he picked off movement at that far range. But as luck would have it, he turned and went back in the brush. And at that time, I thought I saw that there were some other rams with him. And it wasn't until about 45 minutes later when I started seeing their heads kind of peer out through the brush. I could see their ears and the tops of their horns, their faces a little bit. And you talk about leery, I could tell that there was a lot more than just 2 or 3 that were back in the brush. And they were just making sure to check it out before they came out.
Everything had to be perfect, and the wind was right. You know, the animal came in, presented himself, and Keith was going to get one shot, and that was it. Because I think once he had a shot at that particular animal, we'd have to start all over again somewhere else on another part of the ranch looking for another big trophy. And usually, you'll get one big ram, dominant ram per area. So it was a one-shot deal, and we were all kind of doubtful. But if we pulled it off, it was going to be a great show.
First one stepped out, I asked the cameraman, is he a shooter? He said, heck yeah, he's a shooter. Any aoudad with a bow's a shooter. But we waited and waited and waited. And then all of a sudden, the big boy shows up. But when he showed up, he didn't present a shot. He was looking straight at us. And I could tell that the cameraman was getting cramped up because he held that shot for a long, long time. And we knew, as close as they were, if there was any movement whatsoever, those aoudad were going to booger. They were going to get out of there. So he held the shot. We stayed as quietly and still as we could possibly do. And then all of a sudden he turns, and I thought I was going to get the shot, and he walks behind a tree. He walked right out the other side, standing broadside. I came to full draw, settled right behind his shoulder, and squeezed the release.
I think I just saw him fall over. I think I just saw him fall over. We're stand up. We're stand up. I have never, ever seen that done ever. We have got a great blood trail. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call Jeff on the radio, get him in here. He is like a bird dog. How about you, Jeff?
Get this call. Keith says, yeah, one came in, I got a good shot, looks like a great shot, and he's just giving it some time. So we get down there, myself and Jason, and man, I was happy, excited, and I felt confident kind of that we'd set everything up right, and that, you know, Keith was maybe gonna get one shot, but man, Jason just couldn't believe it. He just said, there's no way. And we got out, there was a great blood trail, followed him up and found him.
To be honest with you, all of them were shooters. I mean,
Really? That's good to know.
They were all shooters, and I think one thing that's important to point out to you folks at home is that the 777 Ranch, Jeff has the largest concession in Botswana for hunting. he is a professional hunter, and he's got an unbelievable operation over there, but he has taken a lot of that experience and knowledge that he has from Botswana and brought it over here to the 777. And when you come to 777 hunt now, it's like going back to Africa. And well, these are actually called Barbary sheep.
That's right, from North Africa.
Yeah, and so these are from the African continent, and they are an unbelievable trophy, even with a firearm, but with a bow. I'll tell you what, this is a real blessing and a trophy that I'm going to be extremely proud of forever.
I mean, it's like you say, this trophy taken with a rifle, you'd be ecstatic.
Oh.
I mean, with a bow, it's just unheard of.
Turns out that this Aoudad ram was the biggest one I'd ever taken. I don't know how far it'll go up in the record book, but it'll go up a long ways. And in my record book, it goes all the way to the top, because he really is probably the biggest one I'll ever take in my life. When you come out here to the 777 ranch now with Jeff Rand, I promise you it's like stepping back in time and stepping over to another continent. Jeff, thank you
Well done, man.
so much.
You did a great job.
Ooh, look at that big bad boy.